What's up, horror fans? Pete here from the Lassercast, where me and my good friend over there, Danny Torkel, review horror movies and streaming shows. Hold on to your hash browns, everybody. I am sitting in my car eating some McDonald's, and as horrible as that might be, it's not as horrible as some of the fates that people befall in VHS Halloween, now streaming on Shudder. That's what me and Danny are talking about. Danny already told me his freaking review. Danny, you want to just tell everybody now what you think?
You said it. I mean, there are some horrible fates that befell some people in this movie. Um, and yeah, VHS is maybe the most surprisingly consistent horror franchise of the last 15 to 20 years. I don't even remember when the first VHS came out, but I
Yeah.
remember specifically the one scene, the one segment that everybody remembers in that first VHS with Hannah Fireman, the actress, who, she plays the girl that gets picked up by like the dude bros, and she ends up being like this creature that like kills them and carries one of them away. And uh ever since then, they VHS 2, VHS Viral, they were good. VHS Viral, not so much. And then this like weird thing happened where VHS kind of became like an annual tradition
Yep.
with Shudder. Maybe not with VHS 94, but like the last several of these. I think it was 99, 85, Beyond, and now Halloween. So if my math is this the eighth VHS movie? It's one, two,
That's right.
three. Viral was 3, 94, 99, 85, Beyond. Yeah, holy shit. This is the eighth film in the VHS franchise. And they are shockingly consistent.
Right.
I think your mileage on this series depends on very simply two things. Do you like horror anthologies? Do you
Right.
like found footage docu-style horror films? If
Oh,
your answer to either or both those questions is yes, then this is a franchise that I think you will really enjoy. And I think what VHS does better than a lot of these other, like, I can't even think of like what VHS does as good as any anthology series
yes.
is it packs a lot in there. So if there is a segment that you're not connecting with, it's over in 10 to 15 minutes. You can
Yeah.
use that segment as like background noise, and you can say, all right, I'm not really into this one. I'm going to go throw these dishes in the sink, grab myself another drink. You come back to the TV, a new segment starts. They hit back to that like wraparound story, and then a new segment starts, and you're like, oh, this one, this one's pretty fucking good. There were a few moments in VHS Halloween that I was genuinely creeped out by. There were
Okay.
a few moments in VHS Halloween where I was shocked by the gore, where I was
Yes.
shocked at the levels of the. I had heard on social media that this movie got brutal.
Yeah.
And, you and I are two people that have uh, young children, teenage daughters.
Mm-hmm.
You have Clementine, who's younger than teenage years.
Yep.
And without spoiling anything, I will simply say no one is fucking safe in
Yeah.
VHS Halloween. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, I really enjoyed this overall. I
Right.
think what I said to you before we started recording, if you include the wraparound, there are 6 segments in this
Yeah.
one. I really, really liked 4 of them. One
Okay.
of them I was kind of indifferent to, and one of them I didn't love. Uh, and even that one, the one that I didn't love, had some like, holy shit, I can't believe they went there moments. Some good, one gore gag that really got me in the sense that I was like, whoa, whoa, did not see that coming. So even the segment I didn't love had some things that I felt were good. So
Yeah.
yeah, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, well, Danny, I'm actually really glad I'm recording with you because like you always just inherently know so much about the movies that we're discussing. Like you know about the people behind the cameras, you know like the history of a franchise, and so like for this particular movie, I kind of I just wasn't able to get involved with it as much because I was very busy over the past week. Right, I watched the movie, but a lot of it was like it was on, and I was like doing things while I was watching it. And that's not really a fair way to review a movie. I really enjoyed this. I feel like it is the kind of movie where you actually don't need to be paying like intricate attention. And then there's also moments where it's like, I have to pay attention to this because this is so fucking ridiculous. You know, it's so over the top with the gore or the brutality.
And then
Um,
there's and then there's
good.
the one of the segments is in Spanish, so that one you actually have to pay attention to because that's
Yes.
the and spoiler alert, that might have been my favorite one. And to the shock of nobody, that one was the one directed by Paco Plaza, who directed Wreck, which considering
Oh,
that considering that this movie just released on Shutter also just put up the first four movies in the Wreck franchise. Charlotte and I have watched a horror movie so far every night of October so
nice.
far. Um, there are going to be a lot of days in October where we're not home, so that streak is going to come to an end very soon.
Yeah.
She I'm giving her credit for this one because she watched the last two segments with me, so I'll give her like partial credit for this, having watched VHS Halloween. But yeah, I agree with you to the sense that I think the VHS movies work very much, and I this might come across as like a negative way of describing a movie, but they come
Right.
across really well as like background, I don't want to say noise, but like stuff you can just leave on in the background if you're
Yeah.
having like a gathering of friends who like horror movies. You can just leave this on in the background while you're shooting the shit, while you're passing drinks around, and then all of a sudden you'll like all look at the screen and be like, "Oh fuck, like Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that?" Rewind it, watch that like, and I feel like it's so consistent.
Yeah.
Like I what I would love to happen is if VHS as a franchise were a musical artist, the next movie, follow me here, the next
Okay.
movie would be VHS greatest hits.
Okay. Okay.
After eight films in the franchise, and they put out a 2.5 hour, 3 hour VHS movie with the best segments from each of the films.
Okay.
And I think, because there's always that one standout segment. I feel
Hmm.
like uh VHS Beyond had the stork at the beginning, which was like, oh shit. Obviously the probably the one that most people, aside from that very first VHS movie with the girl,
Right.
uh my cousin actually did a movie with that actress, Hannah Fireman.
Oh, that's
Um
cool.
yeah. And so yeah, that was cool. The movie is called Anton. If it ever comes out onto a digital platform and you ever see it and you want to rent it, the star of the movie, who's in basically every frame, is my cousin Adam Torkel.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and the movie was good. The movie was actually good.
Yeah.
The Aside from that segment in the very first VHS, I think the one that most horror fans will point to right away and go, "Oh, VHS," is Hail Rotma
Right.
in VHS '94.
Right.
But I genuinely liked. I If I was going to critique this one, I
Yeah.
don't know if this one has that one singular like standout, but
Right.
like I said, I think there's four of the six segments in this were really good.
Hmm.
Um, to the point where I was trying to do like a little ranking of them, and I
Yeah.
was like, damn, I don't know which one I'm gonna put one like. the difference between 1 and 4 on my list of the segment rankings
Yeah.
is very narrow. And then
Sure.
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like 5, 6. Uh, so I think this one may have been the most consistent of the VHS movies that's come out, especially these last few that have been like the annual Halloween-ish releases on Shudder.
Yeah. What was was it VHS that had was VHS the Beyond one, like the alien abduction one, and it was Kate Siegel directed one of the
Oh
segments?
yeah, that one, that was a really, where like the girl is on a, she like climbs into the spaceship and then it goes out into space and it like keeps refreshing her and like change,
Yeah.
like it messes up and she ends up like a disfigured monstroid thing. Yeah, that was pretty scary.
See,
Um
like with comics, right? I'm gonna do a little plug for Comic Books Transformed. If you like me talking about comics right here, go over to my other channel, Comic Books Transformed, where me and Brian, who's also on this channel a lot, review adaptations of comic books. But I was gonna say that comic books have anthologies pretty regularly, and there's usually two types, right? There's one that's like a sampler for like a specific universe, like the Marvel universe or DC universe, where it's like the characters you know, the creative teams you know, and you get a little snippet of a story. That's usually on like Free Comic Book Day that comes out. Then there are like independent companies like Image and Boom and stuff like that, where they do these little like samplers, where they're like, oh, you might like this particular story, or you might like this creator, and they sell them for a very cheap price, and that's kind of how they get people hooked. And I think that another thing that VHS does is that you watch these movies and then you like a particular style, right? You like a particular segment. You're like, oh, I want to go seek out this person's work, right? Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but what was that fucking found footage movie that was like the guy in the haunted house by himself and he's real
Deadstream
funny? Thank you, Deadstream. That the people that made that made like a VHS segment, right?
on, I think the last one, not this one.
Okay, and then like where evil lurks or when evil lurks, right? The people that made that made a VHS segment too, right?
Yeah, Demi and Rugna, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like all these people that we go on to like review their features and we rave about their features. There's usually like some kind of little sample of their work in this series, and I think that that's a great way. Like if you like one particular segment, you're like, oh, I want to see more of that. I want to see a feature version of that. And like if I was to look at these segments in this movie, I don't think I'd be really interested in the wraparound. Like I kind of thought that was the weakest of all of them. Is that what you thought was the weakest as well, or no?
That's my fifth out of six.
Okay, fifth out of six. I'm very curious. What is your sixth?
Fun size.
Okay, but did that one have the most shocking moment in it for you as well, or is that the one with the Spanish speaking one?
I thought the most shocking moments were I thought the most shocking moments were in the last two with just the
Oh,
sheer brutality to children, especially. Uh,
yeah,
I, and I want to make this very clear. I'm not standing on like my high horse and going, I can't believe they killed children. I won't Charlotte was watching those last two segments with me,
yeah.
and hilariously, we had just watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
so I said to her, I said, wow, this is the second time in like a few days where we've seen somebody take somebody's face and put it on somebody else's face.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, no, I yeah, the child brutality stuff bothers me. I think that the video store one, I think that was just like overall disturbing.
Oh,
What actually happens with like the gore effects in these movies? I'm just like more and more amazed at how like quickly they can do like gore effects, like how they could just like cut someone open immediately, or like rip open a person's face, or shove a tube of like fucking Skittles up someone's ass and make their
that
face
that
explode.
was the moment, by the way, where I said, like, even in the segment I didn't love, there was a moment where I was like, holy shit. Like,
Right,
she's got
right.
like a thing of like fucking Skittles or whatever they are, jawbreakers going up her ass, and then they like blow out her face. And I'm like,
Yep,
what the fuck?
yep. Yep.
Yeah, that one was like, again, that was not for me overall. I thought those characters were super annoying.
Agreed.
I thought it went a little bit too far into like, hey, let's show a dick and balls. Uh,
They sure did
but
focus on the dick and balls a lot in that
they,
one.
yeah, it was like I didn't need to see like caramel and chocolate on the hairy balls. Yeah, timestamp that 15 minutes, 24 seconds, caramel and
Yeah.
chocolate on the dick and balls. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see all of that. I thought the characters were really annoying. Um, and I also felt it was a little too similar to the first, like, group of like teenager, no, group of like 20 somethings who are too old to trick or treat, who
Right.
break a Halloween rule and then get like pulled into an evil haunted house. It was a little too similar to the first, and I really liked that first one too, which was called Coochie Coochie Coo. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was written and directed by Anna Zlakovich.
Okay.
And that one I thought was like, that to me reminded me of Stork in the sense that, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dark house,
Mm-hmm.
running around a dark house where there are creepy things coming out of the dark. It's,
Yeah.
humanoid creatures that have a little too many body parts or are
Right.
like leaking in gross ways. Uh, I thought that was a really cool opening segment.
Yeah.
And I thought that Fun Size, given that Fun Size is like there's only one segment in between those two, I thought that
Yeah.
the way that those two started was a little too similar for me.
Yeah. Yes.
Also,
You know what?
anytime a character calls another character fiance, I'm like, fuck
They're dead.
you. Like,
Yeah. 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 In real life too, that's pretty fucking annoying too. Yeah. But you know what, Danny? Why don't we use it as a springboard to talk about each segment, and we can kind of go over your ranking as we do them. But when we transition like that, I just want to talk about how you're right. Like those two segments feel very similar, at least like having adults trick or treating, right? Um, but what's interesting about this series and kind of exciting about this series is essentially you're like telling these filmmakers, okay, this is the theme, this is what we're going for. What's your take on it, right? And so it makes sense that some of them are going to be similar because there's probably like these ideas. They probably when they're approached by the people that are producing the movie, they're probably like, okay, hey, we really want to capture the theme of Halloween this time around. So what does that mean? Does it mean trick or treating? Does it mean going to a Halloween party? Do you focus on the costumes? Do you focus on the childhood aspect of Halloween? Do you focus on being an adult? And I think that all these segments kind of address a different part of Halloween and how you
hmm
celebrate it. But I just wanted to segue one more thing in there, which is that these movies, the VHS movies, often feel like you're going through a haunt, like you're going through a haunted house. It's like the fucking Hell House LLC, where it's like you're just going through a area that someone is made to like jump out at you. And that first one, that Coochie Coochie Coo one, that one clearly felt like the most haunt out of all of them. Even though the very last one takes place in a haunt, the first one, like, there's this one shot that I fucking loved so much in the first one, where it's like that mother creature, and she's like on the other side of a doorway, and she's like just poking her head over and smiling, and her eyes are gleaming. It's so creepy. And I
Do
was
you,
like, if I was in a haunt and I saw that, I would shit my pants.
do you
You
know what
know?
that scene that first episode that first segment Coochie Coochie Coo reminded me a lot of, like, what if House of a Thousand Corpses was like supernatural instead of just a house with like actual psychopaths who are going to murder people
Right.
and lure people to their fucking home. Like
Right.
that's what it kind of reminded me of. Yeah, I really enjoyed that segment. Um, you
What did
know,
you rank it?
well, you want to do the ranking later, or
Oh,
you want to
yeah,
go
yeah. All
what?
right. No, no, no.
So
Rank it later. Rank it later.
okay, so I think we should start with the wraparound, which is basically you have It's called Diet Phantasma, and they keep bringing in people to try out a brand new Halloween themed soda,
Right.
Diet Phantasma, with the taste of real Phantasma. Um, I thought this was cool at the beginning and then felt very repetitive every time we went back to it.
Yep.
But I think it saved itself at the very end when they do the at the very end when they do like the commercial for Diet Phantasma, and you
Right.
find out that the secret ingredient is like real ectoplasm, and it's like you're now with bits of real ghost and poltergeist in your
Right.
soda. So it's like you get this like every after every segment you flash back to this like testing lab where like a
Yeah.
guy or a girl will walk in and they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take a sip of this soda." And either like a tentacle monster will come out, the can will eat the person. The
Yeah.
person will literally explode or like
Right.
vomit black goo.
Right.
And then there's like this little girl towards the very end who gets like possessed, and they're like, finally, we got it. And it's like, oh, so that's what you've been looking for this whole time is like you drink the soda and you get possessed by the poltergeist instead of like it rips you apart and kills you. So
Right.
I thought that it did get a little repetitive, but great gore effects throughout. I thought the actor who played Dr. Rothschild, I thought his indifference was hilarious. Like where he's like, "Oh God, stop panicking," and meanwhile it's like there's tentacles coming out and like ripping their faces off, and he's like, "Stop panicking."
Right. 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 No, I mean it's all funny and it's all absurd, and it kind of reminds me of another anthology series that I like, Scare Package. Like I like horror comedy a lot. I like how ridiculous and over the top it is. And I did a Pete on the Street question this week about what's your favorite horror
I
anthology, and I got a
answered it.
lot of yeah, yeah. TikTok is where we actually get a lot of our views, man. Not necessarily YouTube. I got people recommending Southbound or Southward. It's like some kind of
Southbound.
anthology.
Southbound is a
Southbound.
really cool anthology.
Yeah, yeah. Some people said Creep Show, which I said Creep Show 2 is my favorite. Um, then I mentioned the Tales from the Crypt from the 70s that had Joan Collins in it that we've talked about. That's a fucking great one too. But I think that this series works the best when it's mostly absurd, and then maybe you have like one serious dark one. And I think that's what we get with the Spanish speaking one. Now we keep saying the Spanish speaking one, like, do you know what country it's from? And is that's the second segment, right?
I I I didn't look it up, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I thought Paco Plaza was Spanish, from Spain.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. That second segment is called Ut Supra Sic Infra, which
Yeah.
translates to as above, so below, which is quite, interesting given that As Above, So Below is also a pretty cool found footage movie. If anybody's ever seen that, I
Okay.
genuinely really like that one. Did you ever see that one?
I have not.
Oh, that's cool. It's about like a crew that goes to investigate the Paris catacombs.
Oh,
And
yes, I know that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they get lost in basically hell. And it's really fucking cool. Um, but yeah, this I liked this one a lot, because this combined a lot of possession horror, um you know this reminded me of a lot of things. It reminded me of Wreck for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
It reminded me of uh, a couple other like just in the sheer brutality at the end. It almost felt very French Extremis, where I love the visual style of this one, where they walk into this room where this like the party had taken place, and everybody floats up, and you figure out that like the pentagram is on the ceiling, and then he goes through the door and he comes out on the ceiling and everything is now in reverse.
Yep.
I thought this was a phenomenal uh 15 minutes
Yep.
of segment. And it
Yep.
sounds like you agree.
Yeah, that particular effect, like what they do where they have them all float up to the ceiling, like the acting is great too. Just the way it's filmed, everything about it is well done. Like you have them sort of like there's some people that start like kind of convulsing, then they go up to the ceiling, then there's other people that just kind of try to move, but then they go up to the ceiling. Then it's like you see that it's like inverted, and essentially it's like they look like they're on the floor, but they're on the ceiling, which their acting is so good because you really get that sense of vertigo where you're like, oh my God, they're like up high looking down. That would be freaking me out. Then this guy just walks out and he's fine, and he proceeds to like pluck the eyeballs from this woman's face, and her face is right in the frame. Like you slowly see him pluck her eyeballs out. I thought that was actually the most disturbing thing in the whole movie. I
Oh,
know there's stuff for kids. Yeah,
I'll, yes, it was, comma, but uh, when the phone starts ringing and he starts vomiting up all of the
eyeball.
eyeballs of his friends, where they're like, you claim that you ripped all of your friends' eyes out, but we have no evidence of this. And then, like, the phone rings, everybody in the room starts to, like, get possessed or float up to the ceiling, and he starts convulsing and vomiting up these eyeballs. Yeah, it was like at that point where you're like, okay, anything can fucking happen
Yep.
in this movie. Um
Yep.
but yeah, and I think it also is just a testament to the director because one of like the quintessential found footage movies. If you like ask a horror fan, what are the greatest found footage movies? Most people, if they're our age, they'll probably say Blair Witch Project because we were of that generation. And
Right.
it was really like the movie that started the trend into that genre.
Right.
But for many people, Wreck is that movie. And like that is, I think Paco Plaza directed the first two Wreck
Okay.
films, and I've seen Wreck 2. Wreck 2 is really good too.
Yeah. No, I remember Wreck being like really scary when I saw it. And I had a legitimate fear of zombies for a long time until like basically every horror movie was about zombies and The Walking Dead came out. And then I'm not scared of zombies anymore, but I was very scared of zombies when the first Wreck came out and it wrecked me, right? I don't usually do the dad jokes over there, but I'm going to throw in one for this one. So you're
It's
saying
also,
that,
but it also combines like the zombie with the possession. And I thought this did a great job of that too, where it's like he's like stumbling around, he's like possessed by whatever it is on that phone.
yeah,
Um, so there's like a supernatural presence, there's a possession element to it, there's like an intense gross out gore element to it.
yeah,
Um, and again, like this is just a short segment, in
yeah.
a bigger anthology. It's really it's very impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the choices that they make because everyone is working with a limited amount of time, right? They can't make a feature film. So they're like, what can we do that's going to have the most impact? And so obviously like using the phone as like the thing that cues up the chaos is a smart idea. But then the phone itself is a smart choice because that evokes two things right away, right? It's a fucking black phone. One of the most popular horror movies of the past few years has been The Black Phone. The sequel's coming out this year, right? Then it's
Like
also
a week
very,
and a half, yeah.
yeah, it's also very evocative of the Matrix. Like in the first Matrix, there's a couple of shots where there's a phone right in the middle of a room, just like it is in this movie. And the main characters have to answer it to make contact with the outside world or whatever. Um, I just I just really love this one. As a side note, too, Danny. Speaking of the Black Phone, I think C. Robert Cargill was the guest on the Last Drive-In, right?
Oh,
Did you watch it?
I missed the last drive-in this week. I Does that mean they showed a C. Robert Cargill movie? What did they show?
I think they might have. I'm not sure. I honestly, I was on Shutter today finishing up this movie, And you know how Shutter shows you like a live thing, like this is what's on Shutter TV. That was on, and I saw Cargill sitting next to Joe Bob, and I was like, oh, I know that guy. I mean, he's not my friend or anything like that, but I've interacted with him a bunch of times. He lives in the Austin area, and you know, I'm a huge fan of him. Even though, you know me, I wasn't like super into Black Phone. But anyway, we're going off on a tangent here. What the fuck is the fun size one, the third one?
Yes, fun size. I want to make this. I don't want to make it seem like I'm like shitting on this episode. Fun size. The director of this, the writer director Casper Kelly. We covered Mandy on this channel. He directed, I believe he wrote. Not he didn't direct, but he wrote the Cheddar Goblin stuff
Oh,
in
okay,
Mandy.
okay.
And
Yeah,
you can, and knowing that, you can see a lot of the parallels between like the Cheddar Goblin stuff and the characters, not the human characters, the like animated, fun size
yeah,
character, like the
yeah.
evil characters in this one.
Well,
I think you,
I thought that the character in this was very reminiscent of this one thing from Fortnite. I don't know anything about Fortnite, but all my students are into Fortnite, and there's this like tomato face one or tomato head. That I felt like the thing looked like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
uh, no.
Okay, all right. Well, I just thought
I
it was
don't
very
know. My son played Fortnite for a little while,
yeah.
and then and then he got a little bit older, and my Charlotte hasn't yet
Oh,
done
okay, okay.
Fortnite. She still
Yeah,
does like Roblox or whatever it's called.
yeah, Roblox. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I mean that's kind of what I thought when I saw this character. Then he had like a little partner. Uh it was kind of creative. It was kind of silly. I liked it, but you know, once you get into this anthology, you're watching. You're like, okay, it's just gonna be pretty much people getting slaughtered in gruesome ways, and there's not much to it. I don't know. I just the girl with the fucking tube up her ass. That was just so like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, man.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like
that
I
was
said,
screwed
like
up.
I wasn't a huge fan of this one, but it definitely had some like. Again, this is the exact type of thing where if it's on in the background and I'm not paying attention to it, but then that moment happens, I will pause whatever I'm doing and go, "Oh fuck."
Right, right,
And
right, right.
so like that's a good thing. I didn't love this segment, but I thought that was like a super fun sized uh gore effect. I
Yeah,
thought like the idea of like a human being getting like put onto a conveyor belt and like chopped up and put and becoming candy. I like the idea of like the people leave out the bowl that says please take one, and if you take more than one, like Halloween will come for you.
that's right.
A lot. I what I will say, and I kind of felt this during this segment, is this felt like it would almost belong in another amazing, we didn't even mention it, Halloween horror anthology, Trick or Treat.
Oh
um
yes, yes,
and this felt like kind of like something that would be in that Trick or Treat universe. uh
yes,
and I feel like this is the type of movie where like in 2026 and beyond, if you're making your, you know, Halloween 31 days of horror lists, I feel like VHS Halloween can like very easily, boom, like find the slot in there along with Trick or Treat, and various other movies with Halloween themes.
yes, yes. I agree with you on that one. Um, you know, with these segments, uh, it like a lot of them are goofy and fun, but they're all memorable to some extent. And then this next one, the one after Fun Size, that's the one with like the fucking VHS store,
Kid
right?
print, yes, kid
Okay,
print.
okay. So full disclosure, last night I had a very long day yesterday, and then like I wanted to watch this movie. I start watching Imprint, and they get to the part where the one guy goes into the video store and there's multiple monitors with people just getting like their skin cut off their bodies, and I was like, I'm gonna take a little break from this one. Maybe I'll watch it this morning or the next morning. Um, like it's I don't know. There's something intriguing about it because it reminds you of the sort of the panic that was around when we were kids. Like it has that very kind of 80s vibe where there's all these parents worried about what's going to happen to
Well,
us on
this was set
Halloween.
in '92. This one, Kid Print. You said imprint.
Oh,
Kid
sorry, sorry,
Print.
sorry.
This,
Gotcha.
yeah, this was set in '92. Uh, so it seems like I definitely like this one a lot more than you did. Um,
I liked it. It's that kind of thing where like you watch it and you kind of feel like a little dirty watching it. You're like, oh, you
so
know.
I'm gonna make you a comparison, and this is a movie that we covered. It was very high on my list, and I think it was on your list in the top 10 of last year. This
Okay.
reminded me of Red Rooms.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
and
Yes. Absolutely.
and I'll never forget sitting in IFC Center in Manhattan, where I
Yeah.
might be later today,
Nice.
watching Red Rooms and thinking, I want to get the fuck out of this movie theater. This is the I've never felt this awkward, this horrible. I don't like what I'm watching, but I appreciate how fucking great it is.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that way during this. And I thought this did such a good job of capturing, like you said, that like the general panic of a small town. Um, and then also capturing the way that a small town turns its like it almost reminded me, oh God, of like Halloween
Uh-oh.
Kills,
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
like when something horrifying happens in your small town,
Yeah.
it changes the small town forever, and like
Right.
and it like creates like a legend. And like, you know, this poor guy who owns the store, who goes back and he finds out that his assistant is actually this kid kidnapping serial slasher monster.
Right.
He then gets killed, and he is then portrayed to be the villain. And
Oh, yeah.
like his wife and children are like running into the house, and like I felt like almost dirty watching that last part.
Yep.
um I want to shout out the director, the writer director of this, Alex Ross Perry. I know exactly where he is today.
Okay.
Weirdly weirdly watching this last night in my apartment in Brooklyn, New York, Alex Ross Perry is in Brooklyn, New York. He's going to be at the Nighthawk Prospect Park in about an hour and a half. He has a documentary out. It's either called Video Heaven or Video Haven, and it's
Okay.
about video store culture. And I would love to go see it
Yes.
because he's going to be there live. He's going to do a Q&A after the movie.
Right.
Um, and it's already 10:05. I don't think I'm going to make it there in time for that. But he is in Brooklyn. So, and nobody who's hearing me right now, because we're putting this out tomorrow, but on Sunday afternoon at the Nighthawk Prospect Park, he was there doing a Q&A and introducing his new documentary about video stores and the impact that video stores had. And I cannot wait to see that. If I don't get to see it this afternoon, I will definitely
Yeah.
rent it when it comes out on VHS, on video on demand,
Right.
because, you know, for people our age, you know, the oldest millennials, the zennials, whatever you want to call us, the video
Yeah.
store played a massive role in our upbringing. I'm wearing a freaking shirt right now with all of Wes Craven's VHS boxes on it. And it's like,
Nice.
you know, um, so yeah,
Well, if
shout out to Alex Ross Perry because he made a really disturbing episode of this anthology.
yes. Well, I mean, if we wrap this up within like 10 minutes, you think you'll be able to go to it?
Uh, I have to do some stuff around the house. I came home from the gym and I didn't shower yet. I just threw on a horror movie shirt to record with you, so I'm gonna go take a shower. I I'll probably not make it there, but I'm gonna. probably make it to the movies this afternoon.
Okay, as long as you're going to some movie, and as long as you
Yes.
keep calling the segments in this movie episodes, it'll be great too.
Oh, I
But
keep
okay,
yeah.
so dude, it's all good. So, all right, well, so that one, it ends on this like super disturbing note where it's like the last kid you see is the main character's kid, and it's in this sort of like Calvin Klein jean ad format, like people that are around our age will know what I'm talking about, where it's like these people being interviewed in this back room. There's a lot of shots like that in this segment, and it just adds that kind of creepy, pervy feeling of this segment. And then we get to the very last one, which is a great example of like a haunt experience. And it has some like really awesome kind of creature effects, great gore effects. I like this one. Danny, like when you were watching this, right? And the fucking first like sheet ghost shows up and kills someone, weren't you just like, that's like that alien in fucking Alien Earth, the one that's like a
Huh.
plant,
Do you
right?
know do you know who the guy is that got killed in that ghost? The guy with the long gray beard?
No, tell me.
That's Rick fucking Baker. Os-
Oh, okay.
Oscar
That's
winner
awesome.
Rick Baker from American Werewolf in London, one of the greatest makeup horror makeup guys ever. And I love that his involvement in this is like being a dick to the guy where he's like,
Right,
this shit looks fake. And it's like, of course
right,
it does, Rick Baker. You can do it so much better.
right. No, I mean, this one like kicked into high gear real quick. We start off with this haunt, and then it just becomes this like sort of like fucking Halloween massacre with all different types of creatures. I like the different creatures they use for the massacre because it's very like, it's the kind of decorations and stuff you usually see out on someone's house for Halloween, or you see these things in a haunt, but it's like they come to life. And the very last shot of like the actual house that they use for the haunt, or like the location, it had this like kind of goblin-y face with two hands over the walls, and then you see like the hand move as if the whole thing's gonna come to life. That was a perfect way to end that fucking segment too.
Yeah. I also like the family dynamic at the beginning. Like again, we have teenage daughters and
Right.
uh I have seen my daughter change over the last couple of years from like daddy's little girl who will come and do whatever I ask her to do, like come on let's go watch a horror movie, okay yay let's go watch a horror movie, to like sure do you want to watch a horror movie, oh can I
Oh
just like
no.
talk to my friends? And it's like she's still awesome. I love her to death. But like, yeah, like kids, like Charlotte is not anywhere near the level of a piece of shit that like this kid became when he got older, where he's like, fuck you, dad, and he starts calling the dad Keith. I'm like, Jesus Christ, kid. Like they, they don't they made it seem like they skipped out a bunch of shit where like the dad is like secretly abusive.
Right. Right.
But
Um.
I love they go to like this what kind of store is like a little uh antique
Like.
store, and he like sneaks into the back room, he finds this record of like spooky Halloween sounds, and he's like, oh, this is gonna be the perfect soundtrack for the haunt. And it turns out that that record, it was like a possessed record that like opened the gates of hell in his haunt and turned his
Right.
haunt into like actual stages of hell. But yeah, like you said, it just felt like every level that they keep going, they hit another level of brutality. They hit another level of like gore. Like there's one kill where like a woman gets hit to the floor and like you just see her head get split open with an
Yes.
axe.
Yup. Yup. The
And
guy
then
with
there's
the
like
axe.
this tiny little girl who they're like, "We'll keep you safe." And then in the next scene, like a witch has melted her in like a cauldron, and you're like, "Fuck!" Like it's
Yeah.
just crazy. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I watched this documentary a couple years ago, and I wonder if this inspired the filmmaker. But it was a documentary about people that make haunts. Right? It was really interesting. I liked it a lot. They focused on different people, like maybe like three different people, and one was a guy that was very similar to the dad in this one, where it's like he kind of, like you could tell he was wearing down his family with his obsession with his haunt. Like the amount of money, the amount of time that he put into his haunt, you could tell that like it was, a problem for his family. And so I feel like that maybe inspired this segment, but just like the crazy insanity that happens in the end of this segment, it's just like nonstop. It's just like, okay, now this person's getting ripped in half. This person's getting like the woman getting her head chopped open. It's like you're kind of expecting something, but then you're like, oh Jesus. And one
The
of the best
one
things about
girl gets like her jaw ripped off.
yeah, yeah, and that's one of the best things about found footage movies in general is that they know, like, okay, we're gonna put this right in your face, like right in the camera. There's often stuff where it's like you know it's out of focus, it's in the background, and it's creepy. But then there's also parts where it's like you're like right next to the person that's being slaughtered, and it's just like so over the top. I love it.
Yeah. No, I again, like, this was another one that I really liked as well. Again, I overall, I think this is one of the better VHS films in the franchise.
Nice.
I wouldn't
So why
even
don't you?
know how to. I wouldn't even know how to go back and rank these movies because I'll be honest. I feel like there's segments from all of them that like are just floating around in my head, and I can't. Like, I know Ratma is 94. I know. I remember a bunch of the ones from Beyond because that was like last year. But like there, I remember there's like a Double Dare one. You remember the Double Dare episode, like segment? I don't
I think
remember if
I
that's
do.
99 or 85.
Yeah.
So
See, you
like,
say there's been like 8 of them. I think I've only seen like 4, maybe 5 tops. I haven't seen all of them.
yeah, I think they are all good, with maybe the exception of Viral. Viral wasn't great.
Okay.
But the first two are really good. And then yeah, all the ones with like specific you know, suffixes, you know, or years are really good.
Yeah.
So you wanna start doing our segment ranking?
You know what? I don't even have a ranking myself. Like I actually have to sit down and write it out. But why don't you go ahead and tell us yours?
All right, well, counting down from the one I like the least to the one I like
Yeah.
the best. Number 6 for me is Fun Size. Didn't love the characters, but I thought it had some good gore effects, and at least one amazingly crazy kill. Number 5, I'll go with the wraparound story, Diet Phantasma. Uh, I didn't mention, but directed by Brian Ferguson. Then, and again, prefacing 4, 3, 2, and 1 are very, very close together. Like, I liked all of these segments a lot. Number 4, I put Coochie Coochie Coo, directed by Anna Zlokovich. Um, number 3, uh, numbers 3 and 2 are like basically tied for me, and that's Home Haunt, written and directed by R.H. Norman and Micheline Pitt and Kid Print. And then my number 1 is Utsupra Sikinfra, directed by Paco Plaza. That's the one in Spanish. That was my number 1 segment of VHS Halloween.
Okay. I think our rankings would be the same actually, because I feel the same way too. I thought that Kid Print or whatever the fuck it's called. I thought that one like was well made and it was good. I just it was like real upsetting watching it. But so yeah, I dig your rankings, man. I'm down for covering these every single year, and it's funny because you watch these and then they remind you of other things that we've watched and we've enjoyed. Like I've already mentioned When Evil Lurks. This reminded me of that a little bit with that one segment. Deadstream once again, especially with the people that were like wearing all the ghost hunting equipment and stuff. And then it also always reminds me of like Scare Package watching these. Like there was a time where I was sitting there thinking like, oh yeah, VHS, that was the one that had like the lollipops and the girls had the skull faces. But I was like, wait a minute, that was actually
Scare
VHS.
Package.
I mean, that was a Scare Package. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, I love these little anthologies and I love covering them with you. What do we got coming up on the channel besides this?
Well, we finished Alien Earth. That is done. What I have coming up is, fuck, it's a lot. Later today, so later this afternoon from the time we're recording this, a movie that I know both of us love, and we might have covered on this channel. I don't even remember, but Jacob's Ladder is going to
Oh,
be showing at the IFC in Manhattan, and director Adrian Lyne is there. He's doing a
well,
post-screening Q&A. So I am going to do what I normally do. If I make it out there, I have a ticket. It's just a matter of like, am I going to get off my ass today? But I'm going to try to do what I normally do, which is record the Q&A, put that up so that you guys can watch the Jacob's Ladder director Q&A with director Adrian Lyne. I'll probably do a short review of that. I This coming week, Thursday through Sunday, I will be at New York Comic Con every single day. And I will be covering as much horror content there as I can. I have passes to the Alien Earth panel that Noah Hawley and members of the cast will be at. Cannot
nice.
wait for that. That's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, so I will um, try to record that Q&A. If not, I'll do a video covering it, hopefully previewing season 2. Friday night, there is an Anne Rice Immortal Universe panel. I'm dying to get some Vampire Lestat, Interview with the Vampire season 2 or season 3, right? Season 3?
Season 3, Interview with the Vampire. Yes.
Yeah, coming up. I'm sure there'll be stuff on the Mayfair Witches. There'll be stuff on the Talamasca, which is the new one coming out. Which, if it has to do with the, if it ties into Interview with the Vampire, I will be there with bells on. That's Friday evening. And then Saturday and Sunday, I'll be there again with Charlotte, with Athena, with my extended family, my brothers-in-law, my sisters-in-law, my nephews. Yeah, it's always a very exciting time. I try to post a ton of videos from Comic-Con. And then as soon as Comic-Con ends, the week after Comic-Con ends, instead of taking like okay, let's calm down, Brooklyn Horror Film Festival starts. And I have 4 to 5 different movie tickets for that, including um, Tales from the Crypt Demon Night 30th anniversary with fucking Ernest Dickerson there. Uh,
Nice.
cannot cannot wait for that. That is, I believe, I want to say that's Saturday the 18th. I have tickets to a new horror movie with Mads Mikkelsen. I have tickets to a movie that's made by George Romero's daughter called Queens of the Dead.
Oh, that's cool.
A new zombie movie. Um, I have tickets to a documentary about The Exorcist 2. So that
Okay. That
should be
sounds fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Uh, so yes, I am going to be very, very busy. And Charlotte and I are going to try to throw a few videos up on the channel also, because we are trying to do a bunch of uh, reviews this month. We started October. Do your girls know who uh, Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo are on YouTube? Do they watch any like Ghost Hunter type stuff?
I don't think so. No, no.
Oh, because Charlotte's like really into these 2 YouTubers, and they made a found footage movie, which is now on Shudder, 78 minutes long, called House of Eden. And it's not bad. Charlotte loved it because she knows these people from YouTube. So she's like into everything they're doing. And it took
Nice.
me, old grouchy dad, it took me a little while to get like past the kind of like, oh God, they're kind of annoying level. But again, it's 78 minutes, found footage, haunted house, possession, doesn't break any new ground, but does it well. And Charlotte and I are going to do a review of that as well. So yeah, to answer the question, what do we have coming up? A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Jesus Christ, there's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. We got Black Phone coming up too.
Black Phone
Black Phone
2
2.
comes out at the end of next week as well. I think
Yeah.
we're in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Damn, man. Yeah. So there's a lot coming out. Danny's gonna keep posting stuff. I'll keep doing my Pete on the Street questions. This review right here inspired another one, which I'm going to throw up probably in a couple of days. But yeah, guys, make sure that you like and subscribe. Tell us what you thought about this movie. You know, we will take it all. We'll be so grateful, and we'll even pour some chocolate and caramel on your dick and balls too without cutting it off. All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.